What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We have all-time highs. Holy smokes, what a Lambo candle, as they talk about. Holy smokes, look at this. I was just looking at the volume, and Bitcoin is on its way to the moon. It's on its way to the moon. Shout out to the chat. What's up to Crypto Surfer? Nick Musgrave. I'm a frickin' beast to jump the gap like thine brave Sir Otter or scurry away like a scared gopher and unicorn. Well, they're talking to me like I'm an otter who builds a dam because we're here to look at this and see what the charts will give us because the otters are in town and we're pumping and we're ready to trade the coin. Good. Let the FOMO flow through you because guess what? The life savings are going into crypto and the responsible adult decisions might be going out the window. But yes, I woke up this morning to a super duper pump. Shout out to you for joining us on this amazing, beautiful Thursday, Wednesday for you guys probably, but it is Thursday in Australia. So let's get into the charts. What happened today? The SEC is not letting us be. It says that we got to bring in regulation faster, and yet we pumped, right? We pumped like crazy. We got the kind of bearish CPI data yesterday, and we pumped like crazy. What is going on with these markets? Is Bitcoin just like, whatever, we're going to do what we want here? And this is kind of the last stand for the bears. Now, tell me, did we fill up some bags down here at the 21,000 mark in case this pumps? Are we FOMO'd in or are we waiting for a retracement? That is the question. Now, I'm moving my alarm to these highs and saving it because guess what? We're back into the game here, and I'm going to move this one to the bottom of this range here because that's the range that we're currently in. So let's go through the time frames. Let's look at Market Cipher and look at what it's telling us. We can obviously see this key trend line that we've had and are keeping. And we can see that we came down. We didn't exactly touch it, but we did bounce pretty much from it. And now we're flying. We're real boys. We're flying, right? So let's look. We get a green dot here on the 3-day. We came down. We curled over on the 3-day. The 5-day, we were looking at a red dot, and it was confirmed. And now we're getting a green dot. So this is very mixed and confused sessions, right? As we come down through to the daily. Now, the daily, we have trickled down. We crossed over. The money flow looked like it was on the steep decline here. It looked like, hey, we're going down to the ground, and it never did come to fruition, right? It came down here, and it never continued on its way, and then bingo, bango, we popped off and we shot up like wild people. Wild Bitcoin price. Wild, whatever you want to call it. But is this significant enough to continue? Is this enough to continue? Because we look at something like this, and to me, it's overextension in my opinion. It's like, wow, no one really saw this coming. I mean, some people longed here, but I don't think many. And this also, to me, looks like a little bit of a liquidity grab up at the tops here. So are they trying to grab liquidity, or is this for real? And are they going to continue with the upside without a healthy retrace? Just like down below here. We have similar volume that we had to down here. As I was looking at this before, we can see that this spike was quite significant. So we haven't had that one, but we have had similar peaks as well. So let's look. As we come down, we can see that clearly we pumped. Money flow is bouncing back up above the zero line, and we're looking right now for a bear divvy, right? Overbought 25.2-ish. That's a little, I've heard 25.2 from a couple of people, and you know what? That is a possibility. You know, I have had this trend line here at 25.255 for quite some time, and I've been looking to trade it, especially when we were in this area here, looking for a push up, a swing failure pattern, and then a push down. And that is because of previous volume. If we put on our VRVP and we go out onto the daily and we zoom out, we can see that there is an order block up here. Also, if we throw on the good old Lux Algo, Smart Money Concepts, I believe that will give us a better idea as well. Was it on the daily or was it on a different time frame? But there is definitely the last wicks here. Boom, look at this. So we can see that, yes, we're up above here, but we also have the last bit of volume just holding us in this range that we were talking about yesterday. But we have clearly pumped to the top of the top of the top of this range. But we have created quite the excessive gap down below, right? We have created a big gap down below that typically does get filled with such a huge move, right? This typically will get filled. And where will it be filled by, right? Because I believe that this strong high right here that is in from previous times, this is a strong high. This is holding us down because we know when we zoom out that if we do flip this and head higher, that it's going to be a swift move up to this 28,000, 30,000 zone for Bitcoin. Everybody is watching this. Everybody is aware. If you're not aware, this is a swift zone. We have a pocket of volume that's non-existent, and we will move up into this range to our left here very quickly. If you're not aware of that, there it is. But we need to understand this, that we are at the very, very top of a huge range that we've been in since middle of June, right? Since we came down into it, since the middle of June. So it's been quite some time. So we have to be prepared for this. So am I in a short? Well, we'll talk about that. I'm looking for a short right now, and I may be starting to slowly get into a swing short and look for a retrace for a long. That is where I'm at currently with my trading. So let's continue through Market Cipher and take a look. Let's turn off the Smart Money Concepts. Let's look. We were looking for a bearish divergence, right? So we're going to look somewhere from here to somewhere around here, right? Just getting back from work. I don't know if you guys can see it. I'll zoom in. I got a good old... You can't really see it. I got a good old smack on the nose today at work. As a carpenter, you know, it's not always easy. The piece of material flipped over, hit me in the nose, and Mrs. Otter said to tell you guys that it was a spaceship that hit me in the nose today because, you know, in Australia, we haven't had a UFO sighting yet, so we can say that a UFO came and hit me in the nose today. Lunar Beaches, Crypto, Otter Surfer Gang, what's up, my man? Making waves in the live stream. Shout out to you. I love you, David. Mad respect and love, Tino. All that good stuff. What's going on with this pump, Dave? Why don't you tell these guys what's going on? Have we hit a peak? This is wild, right? This is wild. And we're looking to see. Gotta love a workplace injury, don't we? Right? The hands are mangled. You know, whatever. Carpenter by trade, but, you know, happy days, mate. Happy days. Happy days. So we're looking for a retracement here, some sort of bearish divergence. Flipping through the time frames, we can see that, wow, this was just a wild pump. Holy smokes, Batman, right? Holy smokes, Batman. So clearly no definite signs on the higher term time frames of a bearish divergence. Money flow has crossed over. It is just flying up. which is absolutely ridiculous. What do you think about this move, Dave? This is wild, man. Wild. I did not expect this. This caught me very blindsided, and I wasn't able to give any trade setups to this. I thought we were going to range down below in here somewhere for the next week or so, and we got the data, and I thought, oh, it's a bit bearish, and then all of a sudden, kaboom, I wake up, and it's like, hello, we're going to the moon today. You better put your life savings into crypto, because we're going to the moon, my friend. So even if we were to pull a volume range profile here and come across, we can see that like we are way above, right? We are way above. And yes, I did watch your video from yesterday. I did not get through all of it, but I commented and I watched it. And you are always very accurate and bang on, and I always enjoy watching your content and trying to support your channel the best I can. As is you, I am very busy working a full-time job along with trying to create content for the Otter Gang, and I'm sure you are with the beaches, but you have definitely done a lot of learning I've seen lately on the Forex markets, and with, I believe it is C, it starts with a C, something data, volume data. Anyways, shout out to David. Make sure you go and check out his channel. It's linked in my description because he is a friend of this channel, and we love to support David just the same as he's always here giving us all the information all the time. He is a great trader, so shout out to you. Thank you for being here. So as we go to our lower time frames, even with the FRVP pulled, we can see that we are at the peak of this range, and we need for this to hold. This is basically the last chance for the bears to hold, right? Since we had this gigantic move, we are starting to cool off. But what is a cool off if it's anything like this? It's not much, because we have clearly cooled off, popped, cooled off, popped, cooled off, popped. Now we're cooling off. Well, if we're supposed to say that this is continuous, and we're supposed to pop, right? We're supposed to pop. So I'll be looking to enter a short and add to a trade along the way, and maybe we can get back down into this range, because to me, I haven't seen any significant amount of data showing that why we've had this pump, but also the market makers, they're going to do what they want to do, and they've gone up and got shorts. They've liquidated people, and we're aiming to maybe move up into another range, right? Another range. So David has a target between 26 and 28K. Will we continue to shoot up? That is the question. Now, if you're looking at this chart and how we would have got into this trade, well, let's go and look at that, because I always like to go back and learn from the charts and see, hey, what would have given me an idea that we could have pumped here, right? That we could have pumped. So let's go into the 1 hour. We can see we got the data, right? If we go into the 12, we can see where we got the data here. Now, back here, we get the data, right? Boom, fake out low, pumped up high, came back down, consolidated sideways. Now we're continuing sideways, right? Before this run really started to happen. Right, so we've curled over and we've continued sideways. Pretty flat, pretty boring price action. But we do know that when we tried to go lower on multiple occasions here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it did fail to bring us up, but it also definitely failed to bring us down. And we have had this significant trend line. So we were looking for something to come down to this trend line and pop off, right? Now, we are pretty close to the trend line, so why weren't we looking for massive longs? We come in here, we can see that money flow as we were crawling sideways. On the 12-minute, we can see that we came up to the green money flow here, and then we came back down with a steep curve in money flow to where we popped off, right? We can also see on the 12-minute that we have a bit of a divergence here from low to high. So there is another entry signal. We also, just before this, we have a cross on the RSI and the stochastics from red to green. So we can see that it went from red to green, right? Just before this popped off. Another signal, right? These are all things in hindsight that we can be looking for in order to get into these trades. Let's go into, let's say, the 30. So we're bored. We're looking at the 30. What do we see here? We see that after this news that we got, we came up, we came sideways, right? Now we have money flow coming up. So money flow crossed over when we get the CPI data, and money flow came up and it continues to stay flat, which means money flow is a longer term indicator. So it's more of a trend rather than an immediate like oscillator or anything like that. It allows us to realize that money flow stays thick, money comes in and it stays, right? So it's much more of a long-term indicator, I find, rather than a cross in the VWAP or a momentum wave bullish divergence or bearish divergence. Money flow kind of gives us a longer-term idea of what the market's doing. So it stayed above here, which means that that was also another bullish sign that, you know, it's sticking high, even though it's the VWAP's bouncing in and out and we're getting ups and downs like the market always does. It always moves in that pattern, right? So even though that we're moving in this pattern, money flow is still remaining pretty solid, right? Which is also another bullish indication. Y'all better like the video or I will find you and I will love you. That's what David said. 4-letter word. It's all about love, bro. Throw the otters in the chat. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. Otter gang in the chat. We out here. Shout out to you guys. Throwing otters on the screen. Talking about how we could have gotten into this trade. Now, let's go. If we were here and experiencing the pump, let's go into that. So we'll jump into the 12-minute again and look at the pump, right? So we see money flows. Boom. Money flow comes in. It stays flat, right? We can see peaks, comes down, peaks. It does not come below this level, right? So we're here all the way through. It's not, you can put whatever word you want in there, whatever first comes to your imagination. Shout out to David. He's making people think. Oh, man. So we can see that we weren't coming and putting any momentum waves in the lower nether regions. In the nether regions. We don't want to be in the nether regions because that's bearish, right? We weren't crossing over. There's no crossing over. We were rejected, not even at the zero line. We were rejected even halfway up through this momentum wave, right? So we weren't crossing over. There was no sign of giving, right? And we can see that even here, so we're coming flat. We've come down. Looks like we're coming down, right, on the momentum waves. Boom, green dot moves us up, right? Coming down, again, momentum waves. Green dot, takeoff, right? So these green dots, halfway through a momentum wave, green dot, right? Green dot, halfway through. These are very bullish signals, right? That are keeping us above, right? But when you're in the nether regions, it's pretty dang bullish. David, talking about the bullish nether regions. Shout out to David in the chat, throwing down the nether regions. Where shall we go now? So now we are looking for the long-term / short-term. It is Thursday. We had a Wednesday pump in New York, in the States. So it was a Thursday pump in Australia. But we are looking for the market to maybe change its appetite. Maybe this was a liquidation, or do we continue tomorrow. Well, let's look at the S&P 500 and maybe we'll get a better idea. Because S&P is going sideways. So we have a massive, massive pump on Bitcoin, and yet we continue sideways here on the S&P. We have failed to break above this trend line that we've had that's been respected so handsomely for the past almost, since the 4th of Feb. Like this has been quite a long time, right? So we have yet to break out on the S&P. It's kind of just idling here, right? We do have this massive trend line that we talk about constantly that we are looking for S&P to come back, retest, and then continue upwards. This is what I'm looking for on the S&P. We talk about it constantly, is this movement right here, right? But the further we get along sideways here, the further it's going to drop. So that can be very scary if we are bulls at this moment in time, because if we continue sideways here, that trend line for us to come back and retest is just going to appear lower and lower and lower, which can never be good. Now, we got to be careful with this because we know that Gary Gensler and the SEC is out to come at us, and this crypto regulation, and they want to move faster, but we don't know exactly how they're going to attack this, right? And, decisions made in haste are never really good decisions. So the Dixie did recover from this bounce, did come down, bounce, test this trend line, and now it's come up, and we'll move this trend line a bit higher. It was previous lows, but if we look at the Dixie and we come into the 2 hour, we can see that we've also trended quite sideways since making the move back up to this region, right? So we had this box down below here, right? And we have held that as support. It has pumped a little bit, which is bearish for Bitcoin. And now we are looking, it has lots of room to move to the downside if it's going to hold this support, right? But we also know if we look to the left, we have this box above us here that we traded for quite some time as well. So we are sort of caught in the middle. We might just stay in the middle and continue in here. But right now, it's looking to flip this into support and stay and maybe trend up in here, right? But that would be bearish for Bitcoin, right? So there's lots of room on the Dixie. It is interesting that Dixie has moved up quite significantly and then Bitcoin's following it. Very weird, because normally they trade opposite, right? Agreed, David. Very, very interesting. Maybe it's just trying to get up into this range here so that it can bounce around in here. So maybe this is going to continue higher, and maybe we see a little bit of a retracement for Bitcoin, and then we trade within this zone, because you can see that there's a clear area of levels to our left here that was traded for quite some time, right? If that would load. Sorry about the Australian internet. It's not loading. We'll forget about it. So it's very interesting to see the pump with the Bitcoin moving as well to the upside, because normally it should definitely move. David says go to the daily. Let's go to the daily. FVG. It doesn't work on this stuff. Fair value gap as well. So if we took, is that on the Lux? Woo. Okay, I see you, bro. I see you. Yeah, bud. So it definitely wants to come up. Definitely wants to come up, my friend. That's interesting. So back to Bitcoin. Thanks so much, David, for helping the channel. I appreciate you. If there's anything you need, let me know. You said you wanted some help with the thumbnails, man. I'm here to help. I'm working on it, man. I'm working on it. So anything you need, brother, I'm here. You know, it's all about community. It's all about helping each other. So if there's anything you ever need, just shoot me a message. We're here for each other, helping each other grow. My man, much love. Thank you so much. So I just wanted to cap this off. Take a look at this price. What does it look like to me? What are our setups? What are our levels? How are we going to trade this now? Because we always like to give a trade idea, bearish and bullish. So let's get into it. Let's look at this big monster of a wickety wick and try and figure out how I would trade this. So first of all, I would pull this range here, and I get my point of control. I'd mark that out. And then I would pull this range over here. Actually, I'd just keep the tops here and this respected here. Now, I would definitely pull up my levels. Let's see what that shows us from before. So, we came above this box. This box is obsolete. We came up to this box here and we did not touch it. We barely grazed it. I was off by barely anything. So we have the point of control there. So we'll delete that. We have these levels below us that we'll continue to keep just in case that we do come down to the CME gap that should have been filled, but it didn't get filled. So maybe that's just waiting for lower prices later on in the future. But right now, there's too many lines on my chart. We all love a clean chart. We pulled that. That's a POC. We will label that just so we have it. And we will. This candle's bonkers, man. This candle's bonkers. So that lines up pretty nicely there. We'll throw that there. That is a level for retracement. It also matches up with the lows of this previous range. If we look horizontally, see the lows of this previous range. So if we're looking for at least a healthy golden pocket retracement, it would definitely be near this point of control, right? But also, it does not want to give up these highs. I'm telling you that much, is that it does not want to come back into this range here. So if we take this and we pull it down, and let's say right around here at 23.9, it does not want to drop below 23.9. It wants to stay above. It wants to flip this into a support at bare minimum for it to continue up, right? If it doesn't, look for it to work its way back into this range, and maybe we'll get a bounce off of that point of control. Those are my bearish ideas. And obviously, or those are my bullish ideas for a re-entry. My bearish ideas is a swing failure pattern up to the top of this 25.5 area. So something along the lines of, hey, maybe, just maybe, the bears are still alive. They're not on life support. And we can get a double top here. And we can get some sort of divergence on the price, right? So these are my ideas. Look for the top of this range to hold, because this is our last real level of volume to hold us down. And also look at this point of control for a bounce if we continue to go downwards. So these are my price targets. We'll put them on 25.2, 23.9, and 22.7, 22.8. Those are my ideas. This is what I would be looking for. I'd be looking for a swing failure and down, bearish, or I'd be looking for a swing up, bullish. And I'll share these in the Discord. Don't forget to join us. Join us in the Discord. And hope your weather, it's monsoon weather here, rain. We got dumped on actually a week ago, 3 days ago. No, last week we got so much crazy weather in Australia. I mean, the rain was like heaps and bounds. There was like cats and dogs. There was people with their kayaks on the street. No, that's a little bit too far. There were UFOs crashing. No, I'm joking. This is not financial advice, by the way. This is just be careful out there because you never know when the rain is going to come down in Australia. I've learned that the hard way. I walked from my job site to my truck or the ute, and it was literally a 12-second walk, and I got absolutely drenched. It's hailing and tornadoing and ish here, says David. So we can go to the States and get hail and tornadoes, or we can come to Australia and get monsoons and tidal waves and lots of dangerous animals. Choice is yours. Maybe we go to Canada instead and get grizzly bears and snow. Not extraterrestrial advice. Oh, man. So these are my trade setups right now. Let's be patient. Let's see what the markets do tomorrow. Remember that Wednesday is typically a flip day. So Thursday could be bearish, right? After this huge move. It looks like we're overextended. We have come up to key level of resistance. Can it hold us down? Or are the bulls just too much for the bears to handle? We don't know, but what we can do is have clear minds, trade discipline, use your stop losses, don't FOMO in, go for a trade setup, have an idea in mind, and be safe out there. I appreciate every single one of you guys. This is not extraterrestrial advice. This is just an otter talking to significant otters, trying to extract the profits from the market. So thank you so much for joining me. God bless. I love you guys, and take care. Peace out. Mrs. Otter, what's for dinner tonight? Steak. Steak, because Bitcoin pumped. I like steak.